Welcome to the F1 Sim Racing World Championship. It is the penultimate round. So far, Event 3 has delivered non-stop action across both Brazil and Mexico. And we come into round 11 with Jarno Opmeer leading the drivers' standings. But now all eyes turn to Qatar and we are getting straight into things. Claire, take it away.
With one of the longest standing people, of course, in this championship, Brendan Lee. Brendan, thank you for joining us. It is your final few days in the championship. We spoke to you yesterday and you were saying it wasn't really kind of sinking in at that point. Are you starting to feel it a little bit now?
Yeah, I mean, there's one race to go tonight, then my final race tomorrow. And yeah, it's a bit of a weird feeling, you know, because I've been thinking about this for about a month since Event 2, but now it's kind of like actually bubbling to the surface. And yeah, it's a weird one that I can't really pinpoint. When
did you decide that it was time to call it?
I decided actually, a lot of the decision was made around November, actually. I think that's really when I started to fully understand it myself. And then it became sort of certainty about 2 to 3 weeks before the championship started. Then, of course, announced it before the first event.
Was it important for you to announce it early doors?
Yeah, because I just wanted to enjoy. You know, I wanted to be able to go into it. I'm someone that doesn't like to hold something on my chest, on my shoulder. So just to say it before the time, and then I could enjoy my season for what it was.
Okay, so how have you approached it this time round? Have you done, I don't know, maybe more time in the sim, maybe less time in the sim, maybe you've just been taking the weight off your shoulders a little bit, just the pressure off? Because the amount of drivers that we see that I think almost self-sabotage a little bit because of the pressure they put on themselves. Is it nice to have that pressure off you?
Well, I mean, pressure is only what you put on yourself, right? But no, I think I have been approaching it a bit different in all honesty. I've been focused to enjoy it. I think there's so many talented, high-level drivers in this sort of industry that you can't afford to not be on it. And to be honest, my results have shown that I'm not on it, if I'm completely honest. So yeah, I've been trying my hardest, but when your heart isn't in it, then it shows on the result.
So take me back to 2017, Brendan Lee. How were you in terms of who you are now? What have you learned from the championship? How have you grown? You're incredibly different. We all remember that winning championship interview that you did. And that person to who you are now is incredibly different.
Yeah, I think 2017, I look back and I was not even able to make eye contact. I made more eye contact in this conversation than I did in the whole year of 2017, you know? So I think just as the person I am, to be more confident, to express myself, to talk how I am, to talk who I am as well. But on the track, I would say I was more aggressive then. I think if you look at my onboards from 2017, 2018, I was pretty mad. I was pretty mad when you looked at it. Now I look super happy before a race. So I think there's quite a lot of difference.
Okay. Did you think that back then in 2017, you'd still be sitting here now in 2025, you know, still with a front-running team, still, you know, still known within the sim industry as you are?
To be honest, didn't really think about it. I of course came off 2017. Then I got the contract with Mercedes back in the day. That kickstarted the ability to do it as a job. Had a really amazing opportunity to spend 3 wonderful years at Mercedes. Went off and spent some years with Ferrari. I was actually going through my wardrobe, and I feel so fortunate and so lucky that I did get to represent Ferrari. You know, it's such a rare thing, and I'm so happy I took forward that opportunity. And then also to come over to Sauber, it was a new light, and it gave me a new ability to see driving in a different way. And that really gave me a chance to cap off my career in a way that I could be happy, you know?
Yeah. And now you've got one of the biggest tasks, I think, alongside you with your teammate fighting for a championship. Red Bull obviously running away with it this weekend, but Thomas could still win it. How can you support him in terms of, you know, emotionally on the track? What can you do from here?
Well, Thomas is a legend, you know. Of course, like today I can't do anything, you know, because I'm not racing. But of course, there's rules in the championship, so there's limitations what you can do morally and also on the track. But I think Thomas is a legend. He's, in my opinion, the fastest driver on the grid at the moment. I see him growing. I see the detail that he does in the practice, and I'm really proud of him. When I joined, I think he was 18, and he reminds me a lot of how I was at his age as well. And there's like mannerisms, how he made eye contact or didn't make eye contact, let's say. But how he's growing, the man he's becoming is really, really cool to see. And I love the journey that he's on. But I think he can win the championship. You know, he can come back. I think he can put it on pole in Qatar and then start bringing back a momentum. But regardless, I'm happy for him. I'm proud of him as well.
In the 2017, obviously to now, 2025, what would you say is your best memory of F1 sim racing?
Best memory, I like lunch. When they did the hot dogs, it was all right. But no, I think looking back, my best memory aside from winning a championship, because that's a boring answer to give, I would probably say 2018 China really comes to mind because I was teammates with Daniel Beresny back then, and he was kicking my ass in practice, to be honest. He was absolutely obliterating me. Came 1 week before the championship started, was able to recover a lot of pace, a lot of time, and then was able to win the first 2 races back to back. And that's really what kickstarted my ability to gain confidence to then go on win the championship in 2018.
Is he the toughest teammate you think you've had?
I mean, not toughest because he's lovely. I absolutely love him.
He is a big golden retriever.
But I think toughest is also relative, you know, and I had the opportunity to be teammates with Beresny, had the opportunity to be teammates with David Tenitsu as well. He won the championship in 2019 and I spent my 2 years with him at Ferrari. But I think in terms of just being outpaced, I think Thomas has been the toughest.
What do you think you're going to miss the most? Apart from my interviews, obviously.
I like
love these.
I like when they do lunch, especially when they have the
Why
sausage
are you
rolls.
obsessed with lunch?
Free lunch. Who doesn't like a free lunch?
What are you going to miss from the championship that doesn't include food?
Your interviews.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay, what else then? Come on, give me something. What is it about this championship that's kept you here from 2017 until now? There can't be just lunch.
Do you know what? It's that ability that no matter how you feel, it's on a stopwatch.
Yeah.
And if you feel good, you feel bad, you feel excellent, or you feel whatever, you have to perform. And if that's in practice or on the day, it's all about the stopwatch, and you go down in history for the performance that you do. Joris, for example, he didn't really have the best of seasons so far. Went and slapped it P2 in qualifying, you know? So these moments can change your confidence, change your life in so many ways. And that's what I think I'm going to miss the most.
How much do you think F1 sim racing has actually changed your life and changed the path where you're going now?
Oh, big time, because I think the place that I've got to so far in my life, like just in terms of mental, having the confidence in myself and who I am, I've been able to meet so many wonderful and fantastic people along that journey, and they have so many life experience that I've been able to learn from, and that's accelerated my learning process in life. So I think I owe F1 sim racing that so much, and also the people that I've met because of F1 sim racing.
Brendan, we're going to miss you. We're going to miss you so much.
Thank you.
I don't want you to leave. Could you stay?
I'm going to miss lunch as well.
Brendan, thank you for talking to us. Good luck for your final race tomorrow. I'm sure we'll catch up with you then.
Thank
Go
you.
enjoy the racing and supporting your team, obviously, out there as well. Thank you,
Cheers.
Brendan. Guys, let's head back over to the desk because it's time to go qualifying.
Brendan Lee.
Greatest interview we've ever seen.
What a story.
And what a lunch as well.
One of the great lunches.
What
Brendan
a
Lee.
lovely interview there from Brendan and Claire Cottingham. Lovely. That was great, wasn't it? He's such a big personality on the grid, and it's going to be strange to not have him as part of this lineup, isn't it?
I agree. It will be weird not having him about. I think about rather than just the grid setup. We know his achievements. 2-time champion. But I echo his lunch sentiments as well. It is terrific when they serve sausage rolls. He is a star of the show.
He was cheering when he mentioned that, just for the record. He was cheering.
Honestly, what a great answer. And he's played a huge part in what has been a great career. And I think he's also stopping at the right time. I think he's content with it, and we will miss him.
We will indeed, and we will dig into his career a little bit more as we bid him farewell tomorrow. But for now, let's look back at the race that we had earlier on today. We were racing in Brazil, and there have been some penalties since the race.
Oh,
and you know what, guys? It's over to you to...
Would you like us to read this graphic?
I would like you to read the graphic
Oh,
and
Alex.
talk us through it. So
Okay.
please take it away.
Okay, so starting with Thomas Ronhaar. Dive bomb penalty, 1 second. We saw that. He's also got another one, 1 second. And he's also got an in-game penalty was rescinded, which we predicted.
Yeah.
Josh Edu, denying another vehicle adequate racing room, 3 seconds for him. And general conduct for Otis Lawrence.
Ooh, 10-place grid penalty.
10-place grid penalty.
Oh, that's pretty sizable, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. The race result then.
Wow, God, it's you guys again.
I did it. We did this earlier, but the race result has changed.
And the key one, of course, being Josh Edu, picked up that 3-second time penalty.
Yeah.
He was in the points, quite nicely into the points. As you can see, no longer in the top 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Ron picking up penalties for fun, no dramas. He had enough of
He
the
actually
gap.
ended up with less than what he finished with, because it was 5 seconds before the penalty was taken off.
And then the key one, Josh Edu. There you go, down in 15th. After a bit of a starring role in both quali and the race. But it was one of those days where you had to be aggressive, and sometimes it works for you, sometimes it works against you. But there you go. Top 3 remaining the same. Only one of the point scorers dropping out. And Otis Lawrence as well. He tumbled out of the order.
There's more.
There's
more.
more
You know
graphics.
how much I love you guys talking through the graphics. So do you want to just carry on?
Why not then?
Yeah, okay,
It's Jarno Opmeer who has one hand on the trophy. He has a 23-point advantage over Thomas Ronha, but Ronha won't give this one up. Fassi still in the mix as well, but they need wins. It's as simple as that. Barry Borremund on 93, Freddie Rasmussen on 80, then Otis Lawrence in his rookie season, Alfie Butcher in his second one, Danny Bresme, then there was Pookie, who was 10th. I didn't see who was 10th.
You sound emotional, Alex. Second page. Second page. I think the big story here is that Haas haven't added any more points after last time, and it actually is gut-wrenching to see that. But yeah, the constructors now, and
all on one
course,
page. Can't go wrong with
very
constructors.
much up for grabs. You'd say that Red Bull looking obviously in the pound seats to win this one, but pretty close between Mercedes, Ferrari, and Williams. It can change very quickly indeed. Still a lot of points up for grabs in these last 2 races of the season. But Red Bull have done a miraculous job in these last 2 races to overcome the deficit that they had to Mercedes. And look at this team.
Now, there's another
percentage.
graphic.
Hold on.
Come on.
No, I
on.
haven't requested this. This is production.
We're not
they
asking,
like
we're
what
not
you're
saying about who's
doing.
requested who.
They like what you're doing and they want more of it. So here we have a graphic which is showing our team points percentage. So this is showing of the points that each team has got, how much each driver has contributed to that points haul. And it's quite interesting to see. I mean, we can see the Mercedes there, of course, split equally pretty much between the 3 drivers because of their rotation. But then in some of the other teams, I mean, it's only really one driver doing the heavy lifting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not good reading for some of the teammates.
Yes, exactly. But are there any that stand out for you there? Are you surprised at some of the points hauls by maybe some of the rookies?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point to make. I mean, especially when you look at Otis Lawrence and the job that he's done for Aston Martin. He's had a great first campaign. Go on, Matt.
Sorry, I think as well with this, a big talking point for me would be Jake Benham. He deserves a full-time racer. He's had 4 races this year. That's all he's competed in, and he has pretty much similar points to his teammates around him that have had more opportunities. So I would love to see Benham, whether that's with Mercedes or not for next year, actually be part of this series the entire way through, because clearly he deserves it.
And how about Tom Manley? Only name on the board. How about it?
On that Jake Benham point, what do you make of how Mercedes have played this season in terms of the driver rotation?
I like that they did something different. I just think you're always going to get one disaffected driver who leaves at the end of the year. Yeah. So that's going to make recruitment slightly tricky because Jake Benham's good enough, as Matt says, for a full-time seat. So's Pookie, so's Danny Beresny.
Thank you very much.
Top graphic. Well done,
love
production.
that.
Graphic.
We
Love it.
love that. More graphics for the next few shows as well, please. I want to pick up quickly on Thomas Ronha and those penalties that we saw. Now, we know that they didn't affect his result there, but he is in a championship fight, and we saw him getting quite aggressive, didn't we, in that race in Brazil. Do you think that's a sign of the pressure that he's feeling? Do you think he can afford to be that aggressive when it comes with this risk of penalties that in another situation could have bumped him further down the order?
I think his mindset, he said afterwards that he felt that he needed to do that to get the moves done. And if it came with a 1-second penalty, then so be it. The way that it worked. Sometimes if you got a 3-second penalty in other races this year, game over, out of the points.
Yeah, exactly.
He's fortunate in that there was a bit of a gap between those on the podiums and otherwise. But he felt that he needed that just to try and stay in championship contention. I kind of agree with the approach, to be honest.
There was quite a few factors at play, weren't there? He had a strategy that wasn't working out.
Yeah.
He chose the soft tyres, which was a questionable decision. He then stayed out an extra lap on those soft tyres to then go to the inters. And as you said, took a 1 second penalty, but actually he knew the innate raw speed he had at that point in the race. He took the risk, obviously didn't want the penalty, picked it up, and thankfully for him, it didn't cost him anything.
Thankfully indeed. Let's now look ahead to our qualifying session in Qatar, and we have a little track guide for you, courtesy of Nicholas Longe, I believe. Let's have a little look.
Qatar is a very particular track in the F1 calendar. It's probably the highest speeds you reach during the year. Very high speed, pretty much throughout the whole lap, except just the start of Sector 2, the hairpin, which is one of the major overtaking spots, one of the 2 major overtaking spots alongside Turn 1. The difference in this track mainly is due to the fact that you have such high-speed corners, the front tire wear is super, super high, and you can wear out your tires extremely fast if you are too hard on them. You have to really lean on them, just be very smooth on the wheel and really take good care of them, especially with the dirty air. Following is going to be very, very tough. I would say the double right at the end of Sector 1 is super easy to go wide and invalidate or get warnings during your race. So you'll see some people take a bit more risk to maybe try and stay closer to you, to maybe then dive down the inside into the hairpin right afterwards. And also the last sector, when it's all flat out, when you see people going to the limit, you know that they're trying to be as close to you as possible to then dive down the inside into Turn 1. And since it's all high speed, the ERS just drains super, super quickly. And once you go for an attack, you better make sure you know you're going to make it. Otherwise, you're going to be out of ERS, and then you're super easily being attacked by the drivers behind you. They see you have low ERS, and they just get past you very easily. So make sure that when you do go for a move, you know you've got the best chances possible.
Lovely stuff there, and Marcel Kiefer joins us once again, which means it is time to delve into even more of the track data, the track characteristics. Marcel, what are some of the obstacles that you perceive coming up?
Track limits and later for the race tire wear. I mean, for qualifying, we only have to care about track limits. I could already see the drivers practicing and getting a lot of invalidations, just because you really need to, on this track, as you're carrying a lot of speed, you're running high downforce, the tires overheat quickly, there's high loads, and if you don't extract everything from the racetrack on entry and exit, you're just losing time. So you need to be on the limit all the time. If you don't, you usually lose out too much lap time, and that's usually the way out of Q1 already.
Let's have a little look at some of the previous winners, shall we, to see who has, well, previous winner. It was a Ferrari 1-2, Barry and Nicholas Longe, third place, Thomas Ronhaar. We don't have that much of a form book to go on here, guys, but who are you keeping an eye out for in
Ferrari.
this race? I was going to say other than Ferrari, because of course that's all we've got listed.
Probably Thomas Ronhaar, if not Ferrari.
Oh, really? Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
That's what the quality
Revenge
show
of the
gives.
graphic.
Revenge of the graphic, indeed. But do you think this is an opportunity for Ferrari to maybe claw back some of the performance losses that we've seen over the last race? They didn't obviously end up where they wanted to so far in Event 3. Do you think that they'll go well here, or do you think they're just not where they need to be for this event?
Well, Nicholas Longe doesn't particularly like the track, but they got the strategy absolutely bang on last year, didn't they? And that gave them the 1-2. I think everyone feels that Ronhaar is a pretty heavy favourite for at least pole position around here. So I think probably he is the favourite going in off the back of his form as well earlier in the event. Ferrari would love a change in form, though, wouldn't they?
They would indeed. Matt, would you like to talk us through
Would
this
I like
graphic?
to? I think you want me to.
I would love you to.
Yeah, this circuit is fast and ferocious. Obviously built for MotoGP originally, but the Formula 1 cars have gone round here, and in qualifying in particular, it is just such an awesome track to watch. I think in this game as well, it's a lot easier to overtake than perhaps in real life. So it is going to give us some opportunities. Obviously, it's not as easy to outbrake your opponent, where a lot of these corners are medium speed. So into turn 1, for example, it isn't massively hard on the brakes compared to some hairpins that you might see, but we still certainly have got a race on our hands. And as we've been saying about Ronhaar, these pole positions count. These are a point in the bag. He's 23 behind, and if he's going to beat Otmir as well, there's a lot of laughing going on. Is it raining? That is what I'm assuming by the fact they're laughing.
Something has happened.
Well, it's time.
Unless they're watching the show.
Yeah.
In which case that might tie in.
Well, it's time for us to find out exactly why they are laughing and what is happening. It is time to
wet race. No way.
Wet race in Qatar. Right.
Thank you, Nicholas Longay, as well. Fifth member of the team.
Love
He's done it again.
Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to hand over to you guys. Let's get qualifying in Qatar. I'll see you guys after.
Thank you very much, Marietta.
A wet race, Alex? Are you joking?
I thought seconds beforehand, they won't be that mad, will it? They won't go for a wet race. Of course they will. This season, well, it's brilliant in the dry. I have no idea what it's going to be in the wet. Either way, we'll have some fun. We've got some intermediates on the. That's an interesting profile. I don't think it is that hilly, you know.
I was just thinking that.
Hold on, I've been there. I don't remember it being hilly at all. It's a flat desert. Anyway, we go into Q1. Matt likes it when I say the session. Because at the start of the year, I managed to say it was Q2 at the start. But
I wasn't going to bring that up.
It's definitely Q1. Nice to hear the entire field laughing. We're going to have a wet race, apparently. Well, we've got a dry Q1.
But just to take the excitement away, I'm sorry, but the session is probably going to get restarted with dynamic weather for the race, so we will not have the weather that is set in the game for the race right now.
They were laughing that it would have been a wet race had we continued.
Let's just keep it.
It will.
Now that we've said it to everybody, I think it now has to happen.
Probably
Fix
has to happen,
the weather.
Although I do like this configuration on the previous race that we had in the dry. I love how quick these corners are, how long these corners are. Keeping the tyre in and keeping the car within the white lines is absolutely crucial. So mix of intermediate tyres for a few systems checks out there. This is one of these where IDing, okay, that's the first part of the lap. IDing where they are on the circuit is not always the easiest because there's a lot of similar types of corner. As we make our way through the middle, we're on board with the man who has had a devastating start in terms of the rest of the field to the campaign in event 3. And he comes in, and we find ourselves out there with Otis Lawrence, who has that penalty, 10-place grid penalty, wasn't it, we saw?
It is indeed, yeah. 10 place for his conduct after the last Grand Prix, which I am not surprised in the slightest, to be honest with you. Very, very emotional was Otis Lawrence, and it definitely tipped over the edge for him. But it's learnings, right? He's young, he's 16. He will learn not just about his conduct, but also perhaps sometimes when he goes wheel to wheel, some moves are absolutely not on. As Otis Lawrence, 10-place grid penalty. That's a pretty severe penalty coming into qualifying. And you'd expect him to get to Q3, but how is he going to be able to claw back that massive deficit now, Marcel?
I mean, you've already said it well. I mean, he's a great talent. He's just in general a very, very quick driver. He's carrying Aston Martin this year, you have to say, especially he has a veteran on his side, which is Fabrizio Donoso and Duncan Hofland. He's an experienced league racer. Otis as well. He's already doing league racing since I think 2 or 3 years at the top level. And in league racing, he also had similar moments where he got quite emotional, and that is the only, I would say, downside of Otis Lawrence, that he sometimes is not in control of his emotions. But obviously, he's very young. He actually gets big penalties like this one, and hopefully he's proving that he's mature enough to learn from it and get on with it, because he has the pace. One day he might be a world champion, but only if he learns to deal with these situations.
Now, those emotions are obviously great. It means the world to him. You know, that is where the commitment will come into his practicing across the year and in the off season. But it is about harnessing those emotions. Marcel, can you reflect on a time perhaps where those emotions got quite big for you and how you then were able to either learn from that or restrain it?
Oh my God, I remember my racing point days especially when my race engineer wasn't telling me the things that I needed to hear. I was always like, kindly, not really kindly, telling him to be quiet, please. And those were the moments when I was losing my mind. And sometimes also, if you feel like the stewards or someone is not making the decision that you would expect, then you can also get heated up. But it's very important, especially if you want to have a jump at the championship, that you keep in control, that you're always having the bigger picture in mind, because one race is not the end of the world, but if it happens every race, then it is.
He will learn, he will move on, and he will try and respond in this session. Absolutely nothing happening on track at the moment, which means that we have an opportunity to look at Thomas Ronhaar, who's not having the event 3 that he wanted to so far, not scoring in Mexico City. On the podium in Sao Paulo would normally be fine, but Otmir has gone back-to-back, a 3-time winner, the head of the championship, a non-scorer on only one occasion. And Jarno Otmir, despite not getting on famously with the game, he is 2 races away from becoming a 3-time sim racing world champion. And he's waiting to get things underway, waiting for the opportunity, and trying to do what he's done so far in Mexico City and Sao Paulo, place it in the top 5, and then take all of that confident race pace into the contest that we'll have later on. Our second race of the day, it's our second qualifying session. We've got out there Declan Barrett is in the car next to Tom Manley. We've also got Duncan Hofland continuing on, and Istvan Pukki is partnering Jake Benham, which is what we see at Mercedes. At Haas, Shanaka Clay is alongside Thomas Gau, as per their plan going into this event. It means Joris Krozen, who was on the front row for the last race, doesn't compete in this one.
I'm sure we'll get into the connotations of the championship in the pre-race show later on, but it could well be done and dusted for Jarno after Qatar. He'll only have to outscore Ronhaar by, I believe, 4 points in order to win the championship. So a W for Otmir tonight, and that will be the championship signed, sealed, delivered. I mean, 3 races in a row, as Joni Tormler, nice little wave to camera. If he wins 3 races back-to-back, then
deserving.
You can't even question it, can you?
That was always going to be the way that someone put a run together, was always the way to dominate event 3, and it's Otmir who's done it, as tipped by you, Matt. What was it?
You keep bringing it up as if I paid you. I like it.
No,
keep it going.
I keep bringing it up mainly because I can't believe you got a prediction right.
Okay.
That's it. Well, it looks like it's going to be right, but you never know.
Yeah, I know, it can change a lot. And, my thinking was, you come into this last event, and Red Bull had shown glimpses of pace, but they hadn't fully got it together. And I thought, what better team, what better pair of drivers to clinch and push forward in that final event than Jarno Otmir, who knows how to win a championship, 2 of them, and so does Freddie Rasmussen from literally last year. They've got the experience under the belt. If I was to pick 2 drivers that wouldn't feel the nerves as much, it would be them. Ronhaar has everything to prove. He's trying to win his first championship, and we saw that in Mexico when it all unfolded and unraveled for him. So there was logic behind it, Alex, but sometimes logic just does not make sense in this championship, and it can all change once again in the race later this evening.
Yeah, Thomas Ronhaar was missing out by 6 points last year. He finds himself 23 back with 1 point available for pole position. Barry Burrament is heading out onto the circuit. We're looking at the Ferrari pair. And finally, we're going to get some action out on the track in this Q1 session as we move on to this circuit. As Matt said, built for the bikes, now used for the cars, long-term agreement to be on the Formula 1 World Championship calendar. And recently, just one race we've had in sim racing around here as the Ferraris are out there. We've got the ghosting still on, so no one can pick up a slipstream by running directly close to the car in front. And then we will see what order we get. And it feels that every Q1 that we've had so far this year, Marcel, we've seen a big name tumble out in the first part of qualifying in a way that perhaps in previous years wasn't the case.
Yeah, I mean, this year it's just ridiculous. There's such a mix of performance from all of the drivers, I think, but for this event, Red Bull seems so, I don't know, comfortable. Out of nowhere, they got everything sorted out, and they if I would be in the driver's seat, I would actually, if I'm Ferrari, if I'm Kick, Thomas Rorner, or any of the guys that are still competing for the title, especially against Jarno Oppner, I would actually be like, come on, this guy needs to make a mistake. Like, you would actually hope for it, but it doesn't look like they're making any mistakes. Like, the strategy is on point, the way they react to weather, the way they put the cars in qualifying, everything is just spot on. Their pace in quali is not the outright best, but they are always up there. Like, top 5 is always on hand, and if not, they will make it up in the race. So it's like they need to have a good qualifying anyone else and hope that they one time at least mess it up.
Indeed. We're on board with Barry Burrament. Matt Gallagher, Marcel Kiefer are going to share the lap and talk you round.
Oh, share it. How are we going to share it, Marcel? I mean, I was actually going to ask you, how does one learn this track? Because it's a difficult one to master, because there's no obvious apexes at some of these medium speed corners. So that's basically me saying, take us around the rest of the lap.
I mean, you can see they are this year's meta, where you just like literally just hook it up on the inside. You lock the front wheels as much as you can in sharp corners where you need it. Otherwise, you don't want to do it as you overheat the tires, and you scrub also the tire wear, which will lose you time over the lap. Maybe they're doing it here a little bit, but in general, it's just full commitment, having a good flow, eliminating as many mistakes as possible while still being on the edge. We can see purple, but that's because he's actually P1 right now on track, the first guy that is going around, and it's just so fast. Is he taking it flat? Oh my god, he is. So yeah, there's a couple of corners where it might not be too challenging, but because it might be super easy in some parts, it's also difficult on others. And what we can also see here on the start-finish straight, they're staying as fast as they can to the left when they start their lap, just because there's bumps, I think, on the back straight, and they don't want to get like hooked up on them with the flow of the car.
So Barry Burrman's gone over the line. He's done a 1:20, 3:32. His teammate has gone 300ths behind him. Tasha Hardy has gone into third position. Then it's Josh Edu. Otis Lawrence has gone into second place. He's going to get that 10th-place grid penalty. Ishmael Fassi into P3. We're on board with Alfie Butcher, who is heading into the long first turn of the racetrack. And then we're going to double back. You want to make it as wide as possible. You've got to keep one wheel on the painted tarmac. They've got this line that they're running down the main straight that you're seeing now from Jarno Oppmer, where they run as wide as possible, dipping 2 wheels off the road. See that all the way through, will be quality of it. And Ron Haar is fastest, then Barry Burrman, then Otis Lawrence. And in a few moments' time, we'll see the 5 drivers in the drop zone. A grid restored to 20 competitors.
Are we surprised to see Ron Hart the fastest once again? I don't think so. That is a big lap from him. I don't think he'll have to go again, because that is almost a 10th clear of Burremand in second place, which is a pretty big margin if you've been watching this season and the F1 Sim Racing World Championship as a whole. So really nice from Ron Hart. And you look a little bit further down, Jarno Oppmer, of course, has our attention as well as the championship leader, 8th after that first run, so he'll have to go again. And Ishmael Fassi, pretty strong performance from him in that first run as well, P5. And then we look further down, Mercedes, Istvan Pukki, of course, back in the car, replacing Daniel Beresnay as Jake Benham is getting another outing for Event 3. But we're seeing a slight move away from the front-running speed that we've seen from Mercedes. Marcel, what do you kind of make of that?
To be fair, I feel like Mercedes was never really front-running this year in terms of pace, but they just did a very solid job on taking points when it mattered, and also the racecraft of Benham was amazing in every occasion. With Beresnay as well, very solid, but he never looked like, even though he was in contention, he never looked to me like actually this kind of scary thing that you see about the driver. You know, with Oppmer, you always know, okay, this guy is going to score points. With Beresnay, you're like, he's a nice guy who's sometimes ridiculously fast, but sometimes he's also getting hooked up on this negative mindset whilst he doesn't want to. He's so kind, you don't want him to suffer, but sometimes it just happens when you have a bad performance that he doesn't get out of it quickly. And I feel like with some drivers, you don't see that at all.
What was interesting with Danny Beresnay is third, 9th, got hit, retired, 2nd, 5th. And he's not got back to those heights since he's got back in the car. I think the interrupting the rhythm of the drivers and not deploying him across the entire year Obviously, really useful for their championship aspirations, and splitting it means that the drivers were able to focus on certain tracks. But it's interesting that you say that about Danny Presnay, Marcel, a driver who came closest to winning this year, returning to the top step when he was second just behind Freddie Rasmussen at Silverstone. We've had 7 different winners this year. Jarno Opmeer has stopped that number being extended. Well, we've had our push laps now in the first part, and it's Joni Toomela, Istvan Pukki, Shanaka Clay, Tom Manley, and Declan Barrett. I believe Manley and Barrett went beyond track limits, and those times on the board were invalidated as they are in white, not green on my timing page, so they don't have legal lap times. And that's confirmed with the timing tower on the left-hand side that I'm now seeing directly behind me. There we go. Massive screen directly behind us in the studio. So Manley and Barrett don't have times that count. Everyone else is trying to find an improvement to be inside the top 15.
The top 3 have retired from the session. They don't want to go again in Q1, saving a set of those wonderful new soft tyres. Freddie Rasmussen is still in the pits
he's
at
staying
the moment. So potentially Fassi down will be an extra set of laps. And is Rasmussen staying in the pits to not show his hand as to whether he's going to come out or not? Like, or is it just literally a case of him chilling in the pits and he hasn't retired myself?
No, I think he's actually he's just waiting to maybe also check top speeds or something, because when you're in the garage you can see it better. There's actually the speed trap where you can check things. I don't think it matters to them that much anymore, as it's like the penultimate race of the season and they're not really trying to see what the others are doing with setups too much anymore. But yeah, Freddie seems confident that he's through, and I also think he is. I believe maybe Nicolas Longley could be through with his lap time, but he's trying as well and fussy. But we will see if there is a lot of track improvement or not. And we can see again this full lock on the steering wheel into turn 1, and I think also in the hairpin. Just turn 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there we go. Turn 6 where they go full lock again.
Man, it's quick. It's just ridiculous, the commitment that you need. Oh, big swapper. And you can see the amount of time that's lost. Has to stay with it. Got to stay with it. No option, considering we're in the final 30 seconds. And that, honestly, that in a session as tight as this, that could be incredibly costly when you need an improvement. Brilliant to ride on board at this stage of the session with Alfie Butcher, who is trying to book his place inside the top 15. He will hope that those behind do not have a cleaner run.
Yeah, considering the moment he had, he didn't lose a massive amount of time, a couple of tenths maybe, but he's right on the cusp of improving. And he is in 13th position. You have to expect the drivers behind to improve by a tenth or two, so he needs a miraculous final corner, does Butcher, and I don't think he's going to get it. Oh, he might get a very, very small improvement, but don't think that's going to be enough. P10 for now.
Take anything you can get, given how tight it is, and hope that the others don't have a clean run. Shanaka Clay improving by 3.5 tenths of a second compared to his first run there. And now, heading into the drop zone, we've got Edu and the 2 RBs. We've now got Hardy in there, thanks to Edo's lap. And then Hoffland's down there as well, along with Pukki and the 2 RB cars coming into the final seconds of the session. Alfie Butcher drops down to 16th position, and Jake Benham's at risk as well. Can anyone put the Mercedes man into the drop zone? Jarno Opmeer's gone all the way down to 14th position, as Ismail Fassi goes over the line and has the fastest time. Ruben Pedreno is in 17th place. And that completes our bottom 5. Over the line we go, and it's Alfie Butcher, Ruben Pedreno, Hardy, Barrett, and Hoffland out in the first part of qualifying. In the end, that mistake cost Alfie Butcher. He's missed out by 0.04 of a second.
Yeah, it cost him massively. Did for Alfie. Glad we rode on board with him to understand why he dropped out in Q1. He'll know exactly where he lost the time. You can see him right there. Shanaka Clay just making it through in P15. Longue was under a bit of pressure in 13th as well. Jarno Opmeer was falling down the field, but then put in a lap, one of the last across the line, and ended up in P3. But a very, very good time from Ismail Fassi. 1 minute 20.192, the only one in the .1s. As we take a look at Hardy, who, of course, will have been practicing an awful lot for these 2 races. I'm sure it means a massive amount to him to be competing, but sadly for him, does not make it through to Q2 for a second time in a row.
Yeah, Hardy invalidating on his last lap as well, along with Pedrino. So their second efforts, not enough, and frustration for them because there was options on the board in terms of improvement out there. We saw even a mistake you could improve out there, but it's Butcher, Pedrino, Hardy, Barrett and Hofland, the 5 drivers who are eliminated in the first part of qualifying. The other 15 will steady themselves and go again in a few moments' time. Declan Barrett not getting on with the car and the performance. He's in 19th position. Now, let's check in with Claire Cottingham, who's speaking to Ruben Pedrino.
Yeah, come back down to a disappointed Williams driver again, Ruben. You mentioned there that I think you said it was maybe a mistake from your part. Can you just talk me through what happened for qualifying?
Yeah, in Sector 1 I was purple, and just in the hairpin in Sector 2 and in the left-hander just made a mistake, went wide, tires overheated in the hairpin, and then it was over.
A difficult place to qualify, or is it, is it going to be a bit of a strange one, this one, with the predicted rain as well?
We will see. Always, last year I did a lot of comebacks to the points, so yeah, we will get there.
How is the Williams camp at the moment? Not been the weekend or the week rather that you guys have wanted?
Well, we are confident. Like my teammates did an amazing job last race with the rain and like the engineers, an amazing strategy. So we are confident that we can keep going, and yeah, we will get the points.
Okay, still plenty of points to play for in the race. How are you feeling for that?
Yeah, we will get to the top 10 for sure.
Okay, top 10, fighting talk like that. Thank you so much for talking to us. Sorry, it's at this point in qualifying.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. And unfortunate stuff from Ruben Pedrino. But we appreciate everyone talking to us. He climbs back into his rig as per the regulations. And we put 15 minutes on the board and we go again. It's an almost silent studio at the moment because we've had the intensity of Brazil. I feel that Brazil being the first race as well has taken an enormous amount out of everyone behind us.
Including us.
Definitely us. Definitely us. And everyone pouring out onto the circuit once again. So we're going to have some old tyre runs. But I'm really enjoying seeing the drivers have to work for the ultimate pace around here. We'll also get a better look at our competitive picture to tell you if you're just pressing play and getting up to speed with the day so far. Thomas Ronha put it on pole in a thrilling Brazilian qualifying session earlier on. We then had a wet, dry, and then wet again race where Red Bull took a 1-2 finish. Jarno Opmeer going back-to-back with victories yesterday evening and this morning, early afternoon. A strong performance from him, and it leaves him 23 points in the lead of the championship heading into this, the penultimate race of the season. And we are out immediately with everyone but Joni Tormela, who's chilling like a villain in the pits at the moment. And he finds himself the only one to do so. Everyone else is out there for the time being. And we see the top 15 on the left-hand side, including just the one McLaren. Lucas Blakely, our former champion, not had the season that he expected, not had the season that McLaren wanted. Tough campaign. There's a mixture, isn't there? We have Brendan Lee heading into his final day as a competitor in the Sim Racing Championship. Tomorrow you have others looking to get these seasons in the bin if it's not gone to plan for you. And as Marcel's been telling us with a bit of glee, because he doesn't have to do it, the new build of the game available to all of these drivers on Monday morning. So the entire process starts again, and we're on board with Otis Lawrence. He wants to minimize the damage of the 10-place penalty, and I'm loving that they're on the absolute brink of adhesion on the exit of turn 2. Great corner.
Yeah, I told you the story there of what type of tyres he's currently on, Otis Lawrence, but you can just see what we were speaking about in the pre-quali show of how they have to be within centimetres, millimetres of the track limits around this circuit to extract the speed that they need around here. Otis Lawrence fully dialed in on this lap, even though it won't be the one that he'll try to exit Q2 into Q3 with. And again, you can see the tyre temperatures are skyrocketing. The DEG is also going up. This is very much just a banker reference lap, sort of a banker lap. It won't be anywhere near the pace that he'll need, but it just resets the mind, resets the brain, and Lawrence will go again with a fresh pair of boots. But awesome to ride on board with Lawrence through here. As you say, looking to bounce back after a difficult Brazilian Grand Prix. No points scored for him, and a penalty into this one. As over the line he goes, as Ronhart eclipses him immediately with a 20.492.
Only his second non-point score of the season for Otis Lawrence. The Welshman had the 13th place in the Netherlands and was trying to improve his points-paying position, and it didn't go to plan. 14th in the final classifications in Sao Paulo. He's been on the podium on 2 occasions, including winning in spectacular fashion in a drag race to the line in Saudi. Memorable moment in what has been a wide-open season until Red Bull took it up a gear in Event 3. And Freddie Rasmussen has been playing the team game. He was able to take 4th place in Mexico. He was 2nd as part of a Red Bull 1-2 earlier on, and he's the driver who's fastest at the moment. Rasmussen ahead of Longe, then it's Opmeer, and then Edu, Ronhart, Fassi, Burman, Manley, Blakely, and Lawrence. Yet to see times from the bottom 5 who've remained in the pits.
Those bottom 5 just decided, you know what, I don't want to play these games. I don't want to go on an old set of soft tyres from Q1. Not bothered about that. I'll see you shortly. And I imagine they'll peel out the pits around 8 minutes or so to go. We'll wait for those laps to come in. Both Haas drivers, of course, incredibly impressive in Brazilian GP qualifying. Here's Rasmussen.
Lap was so mid. How is that, P2?
That was so mid. Interesting. Clearly a better mid than everyone else. Freddie Rasmussen, fastest, and showing the pace and the form of the champion we saw last year, but a little bit too late to challenge for the title himself.
Yeah, that Event 1 did for him, didn't it? 10th, 11th, 18th. Good night. Retirement in Saudi. And say goodbye to the title, because since then, 1st, 7th, 8th, 4th, 4th, 2nd. The Rasmussen that we expected. And it all fell apart in Event 1 and the first 4 races. The first 4 races for Ismail Fassi. 1st, 4th, 3rd, and 5th. Just an absolutely rip-roaring start. And then 2 non-scores at Silverstone in Belgium. Came back strongly in Zandvoort, needed to. Can he return to the podium? Can he get amongst the winners? He's confident if he gets to Q3 that it could be a page turner for him. It's a weird one though. If he gets to Q3, well, how are you going to have the pace if he... Anyway, doesn't matter. I love the way these drivers operate. And that was talking to Marcel Kiefer earlier on. He was very, very confident if he could make it through. But I think it just speaks to how ultra competitive it's been this year, when one of our main contenders, still a contender for the title. I think if you said to Fassi, hey, 2 races to go, you're going to be 28 points back. He'd have taken that.
Yeah, coming into this.
Absolutely, coming into the first round in Australia.
At the end of Event 1, he definitely wouldn't have taken it.
No.
Because he was the man of the moment, and a very... well, not even steady. A poor Silverstone, followed by a poor Spa as well, 12th and a 17th. Really did cost him quite a bit. He hasn't been on the podium since Zandvoort. But mathematically still possible, and a big performance here. Absolutely getting pole position if he makes Q3. That's what he has told Marcel Kiefer, which is... that is confidence, especially around a track like this where a centimetre misjudgment and you're invalidating. So, we'll see.
That's the joy of it. Sometimes I think the drivers just tell Marcel things to see.
They're like,
say
it's so true.
But we're a fan of it. Otherwise, we're just banging on about warm-up laps, which, as thrilling as this job is, not always the most exciting content. There we go. Everyone working their way around the circuit. It's been great to see the onboard laps as well. Opening race of the year, won by Fassi, then Opmeer, Always goes well in China, proved it again. Barry Burman in what was a scrap, wasn't it, in Bahrain? Everyone fighting each other. He'd been one of 6 different drivers that day. Burman did brilliantly to win. Otis Lawrence became the youngest ever winner in Saudi, and then Freddie Rasmussen returned to the top step. Stopped the rot, really, of what was a really tough campaign up until they just denied Danny Berezne. And then Alfie Butcher, not being the campaign that he expected in his second full season, but dominant stuff in Belgium. Barry Burman in the Netherlands in a wet race. We've seen plenty of wet races across this year. And then Barry Burman became the first repeat winner of the year. Ron Haar ended Event 2 brilliantly by measuring things really comfortably at the Circuit of the Americas, certainly compared to what we've seen at previous times. And then Event 3, Otmir's like, lovely story, thanks for telling it, and I'm going to shut this championship down. 2 wins back-to-back to move to the brink of the title. But this, Matt, is a session where, if there is one weakness left of Jarno Otmir, it's occasionally finding himself outside of Q3 at an inopportune moment.
Liking these live timings that have come up. Let's keep an eye on that one, as they're all out there. Burman pushing hard, 10th up on his on Rasmussen's time, and we'll keep an eye on the live timing as it comes in. But of course, they will have another go if this one is not the one for them. Burman needs a big result, so let's see what happens around the final corner towards the line. Is it valid? Is it good? Oh, it is.
So he sets the fastest time, and then Blakely comes over the line with the best effort so far in the session. Jarno Otmir, head of all of them, including Otis Lawrence, Lucas Blakely, Barry Burman, Shanaka Clay. Nicholas Longue goes to second place, driver who finished second on the road here last year. Ismail Fassi was confident earlier on. 5th place for him. Look at the gaps.
This is Brazil all over again.
Getting daft out there as we see Otmir, then Longue, then Ronhart, followed by Rasmussen, Otis Lawrence, Lucas Blakely, Ismail Fassi, Barry Burman, Istvan Pukki, 900ths of a second back, 9th position. Getting daft out there.
Alex, from my own brain, I needed one more to just slot into that 10th, just so we could have the top 10 all separated by less than a 10th. So if we could just do that, that would be great.
We'll put the request in.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Just get the drivers to read the script.
No, we do. Yeah. We had the script meeting earlier on, didn't we? About how this one was going to go. Tom Manley, currently the driver in the ever-annoying 11th place, not missing out by much. Manley, Edu, Clay, Benham, Joni Tormula, yet to be able to put a legal lap time on the board. And we're looking at Tom Manley, who has had good 1-lap pace so far this year, and finds himself 10th in the standings. Didn't score in the last race. First time he'd done that since the 2nd race of the season in China.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, Manley? A lot of point scores, a lot of great qualifying performances, but not really near where I thought he could be in this championship, despite the pace he's put down. Just executing that final part of races has sometimes escaped him. But it'll be a lot of learnings from this season and going into next, and he'll be one to watch. And I'm sure some teams will be interested to potentially work with him in the future as well. But Manley's done a decent job. And another driver actually as well. I know we've been saying about McLaren's struggles and the fact that they haven't really been able to piece anything together. I think Butcher's had an all right season. He's just gone very quietly about it. Popped in a random win in Spa, as you mentioned, Alex. But he's scored a lot of points, 75 points, sits 7th in the championship. And you compare that to the other side of the garage with Lucas Blakely. 12 points this season. Very unusual to see that split, especially when there's a former champion as well. There is Lucas Blakely, Alfie Butcher, the McLaren men. One taking part in the session and finding himself nice and competitive on that run, certainly compared to the rest of the year. As you say, he's only scored points on 2 occasions, a 5th and a 10th. 12 points, 16th position. Really, really tough campaign for him. And everyone pushed back into the pits, perfect formation. And we're looking around the arena as a result. 2 minutes and 39 seconds to go. And it's been a fun event, this one. With these gaps,
Yes.
Sorry, Alex. With
No,
these
no.
gaps, just assessing.
That's fine.
You know, how close it actually is. Where is the cutoff for confidence here? Where is the I'm not going to go out again? Because 900ths separating 9 drivers,
I don't.
it gets a little bit squeaky bum time as Jarno Opmeer retires.
So I was going to say Jarno, and then
That's it.
I
Maybe
think
a long game.
I don't know. You don't want to. You don't want to.
Oh, Longue's out.
There we
There you
are.
go.
You don't want to risk it. I mean, you'd be surprised, wouldn't you? But you don't want to risk it and get egg on your face at this stage of the season. You know, like say you're Tom Deacon and you've booked a fly fishing trip. Okay, and then it clashes with the final event of the year. All right, that's the sort of egg on face I'm talking about. And Nicholas Longuet, it's brighter than that. He's stayed with the program all the way to the end.
Yeah, some people have their priorities right.
Yeah, it's fun as fly fishing is. Thomas Ronhaar is out there as well. So only Jarno Opmeer is safe at this stage. And then Nicholas Longuet, Thomas Ronhaar, second in the point standings. Let's hear from Longuet.
The last corner, there's so much time, but I'm just so scared to hit the bump and go straight.
I really appreciate that. You've seen them flirting with danger on the final corner of the racetrack. There is time to be made there. That gives everyone a bit of hope if they're not improving by much. You've seen the delta on the onboard cameras, and so the drivers will have that reference. It will inform, I think, how much dare they play with the final circuit of this racetrack. Shanaka Clay is in the Haas. The Haas that he is driving was on the front row of the grid last time out. Can they continue their giant killing? We're on board with Shanaka Clay trying to book his place in Q3. Both Haas made it one race ago in Brazil.
You see the delta in the top right. He needs 1.5 tenths across this lap. You would expect a little bit of an improvement just purely from the track evolution. Can Clay get into that 10.5 advantage? Right now he is behind his previous lap time and he's going to have to push and risk a little bit more, is Clay, if he wants to get through to Q3. It would be a great achievement once again for Haas. It's aggressive on the turn-in and we're seeing some green finally. Is this where he lost a bit of time on his first lap? Can he risk it? Longuet didn't want to risk it round the final corner. Would Clay? Let's have a look. The time has run out as we enter the final few corners of this Qatar circuit. It's a 10th up now. Clay is now flirting with Q3, Alex.
Right. Final turn of the racetrack. Oh, it was nice. It wasn't all in, but it was a good effort into the DRS zone. And that's a strong time to improve. All you can do is improve there into the top 10. Gal, Manley, Edu, Benham and Tormula will have a chance to respond. Tamas Gal is the next driver to try and get through. This will be a key moment for the Haas man, for the rest of the field. 4th position. So Shanaka Clay will fall at that stage. Barry Burrowman improves. Nicholas Longuet improves. And Yoni Tormula can't find a lap time that counts. Over the line we go. We've got Pookie on the brink here. Shanaka Clay, Josh Edu, he's over the line. He does not improve. And then it's Tom Manley who is coming through. Benham is in 13th. And so Pookie or Manley, who's going to make it through? Thomas Ronhaar goes over the line. It's academic. It's all about this lap. It's all about this performance. And Manley is unable to find the lap time. He's in 14th. And there wasn't a huge amount of improvement towards the end there. In the end, Shanaka Clay finding himself 0.03 of a second back, just missing out on Q3. Q3, which has been made by Otis Lawrence, Barry Burrowman, Nicholas Longuet, Lucas Blakely, suddenly rejuvenated as we come to Qatar. Jarno Opmeer, championship leader, Ismail Fassi, Thomas Ronhaar, Thomas Gal, Freddie Rasmussen, Istvan Pookie, and heading out, Clay, Edu, Benham, Manley, and Tormula.
We could have had a couple of scalps there, Alex. Ronhaar and Rasmussen both invalidated their laps, finishing 7th and 9th in that Q2 session. They both obviously make it through safely to Q3, but that was a little bit closer than Freddie Rasmussen would have liked. With that lap that was invalidated, he would have gone up to P2, but instead P9 with Pookie just behind him in 10th. He'll be breathing a sigh of relief. His teammate Benham, as you mentioned, out in 13th, but Otis Lawrence he'll be kicking himself about that 10th-place grid penalty because he's the only driver to get into the 1:19s.
Oh, it just makes it sting even more, doesn't it? Real frustration for him. And let's now hear from the driver who got within 0.03 of a second of making it into Q3. Shanaka Clay in the Haas, but out in Q2. He's speaking to Claire now.
Oh, Shanaka was so close just at the end there. Just talk me through what happened.
Yeah, overall I didn't feel as if it was a great lap, but to be within a couple of hundredths of going through to Q3 is just painful, to be honest. Just coming so close, you know, it was easily there, but, you know, just wasn't to be today.
Why did you not think it was a good lap?
I just didn't have a good first sector, just a few too many missed apexes, snaps here and there. Like, there was so much more on the table, but, you know, that's the nature of F1 Esports. It's just so tight.
Now, Haas like to rotate their drivers, so obviously, you know, you've not come in for every single round this season. You are doing this one and the last one, though. Is it good to build up a bit of momentum now, heading into the final part of the championship?
Yeah, it's a nice little icebreaker for Abu Dhabi as well. Not a bad qualifying overall, so hopefully we can build some positive momentum, as you say, and have a good end to the season.
I feel like it's been quite a positive couple of days for Haas.
Yeah, we had a really strong qualifying earlier. You know, we were screaming in the lounge for Joris. Unfortunately, we didn't convert it in the race, but, you know, we're going to learn from it and take it forward for the last couple of races. So.
Okay, well, I think you can be pleased with that one, and so good luck for the race. Let's see how you do.
Thank you.
Thank you to Shanaka Clay. Thank you to Claire Cottingham. Thank you to you at home for watching wherever in the world you are. Can I interest you in a top 10 shootout to decide the grid for the penultimate race of the year? We're at Lusail International Circuit, and we are ready in a few moments' time to put 12 minutes on the board and for not much to happen, but that will change. And our main contenders are in the mix. We have our championship leader, we have our closest contender, and we have our outsider. The top three of Opmir, Ronha, and Fassi have all made it through into this crucial final part of qualifying. Now, what was the prediction to Marcel Kiefer, Ismail Fassi? If he gets through into Q3, he's definitely going to put it on pole. Big words that now need a big lap.
Certainly do. I'm sure when Ismail Fassi told this to Marcel Kiefer, he wasn't expecting it to be put on the broadcast.
Yeah, I suspect that.
Here we are, and these are the expectations now on Fassi's shoulders. But he needs it. He needs a pole position. If he wants to have an outside chance of winning this championship, he's going to have to hope for a Jarno Opmeer disappointing qualifying at the end of Q3 here, as we ride on board with Ismail Fassi on his outlap. And yeah, we want to see a little bit more of that Event 1 speed, especially if you're a Williams fan, especially if you are in the Williams camp. Fassi was unstoppable in Event 1. 3 poles out of 4 races. And here's the other man that's been very, very good in qualifying as well. Has secured pole the last 2 races. He needs those extra 2 points for this one and for Abu Dhabi tomorrow if he wants to have any chance of beating Jarno Opmeer. But it's very possible.
Well, Jarno Opmeer finds himself with the points lead. No pole position so far this year. A driver who just simply goes better in race trim. 3 pole positions for Ronha this year. 3 pole positions for Fassi. And 1 for Barry Burman, just looking through the table. 1 for Freddie Rasmussen. It's a pretty funky sound there as the Williams returned back to the pits. Just 1 in the session. That's Ismail Fassi of Spain, who has been absolutely superb all the way through the year. Thomas Ronha's going to get a sighter in.
Let's watch this then into turn 1. Pretty smooth on the steering input. That's because it's not of a tight as an angle as some of the corners we see over the course of this season. A lot of medium speed corners, as I've mentioned. And running on board with Ronha now. I'd imagine this will be the one that will be pole position as well.
Too far.
Goodness gracious me, foreshadowed that one quickly, didn't we? Track limits.
Crank on the lock. Yeah, I love that turn.
He loves to crank on the lock. Old Alex Jakes, we love to see it. But Ronha invalidating there. He won't be too displeased about that. I think this was literally just a sighter lap for him.
It's lovely fingertip stuff, isn't it? And then all the artistry just completely melts away. It's just like send the steering wheel all the way over to the left-hand side.
The judgment you have to have, it just comes from thousands of laps that they've put into this. To know the angle that is going to, or the change of direction that's going to cause is quite something.
This looks near impossible to me. I think this every single time I see racing around Qatar. Like, you are daring them between invisible walls here, because given how close we expect this to be, any invalidation is going to leave you 8th, 9th or 10th. That's just the nature of the game at this stage of the season with the drivers and the talent that we've got at this stage. Lucas Blakely going a lot better in this session, seems to have turned a corner, seems to have a feel around Qatar, high-speed stuff, that he hasn't had at recent times. And he'll be looking to try and finish on a high note, looking to try and salvage something from the campaign. Driver who's been doing a lot of racing in the real world. Bit of 4th tier stuff and around some of the best.
Oh, this is the fun session.
Yeah.
You've done all the hard work now.
This is the fun session.
Yeah, here we go with the fun session. Hop aboard the fun bus. It is nearly time to see some attacking laps with proper consequence. It has felt like a little bit of a slow burn, this, hasn't it? In that we're waiting for the real precision laps to come our way. And your wait is over. Time to turn it into the right-hander and begin the lap. On board with a former champion, Lucas Blakely is heading down to turn number 1, this wide line over the painted tarmac, then onto the curb. Let's listen in. That's the commitment into the first turn. Dare yourself to the very... Oh, he's done it immediately. Done it immediately. I thought he just kept it within the white lines, but that's how quickly it can go wrong. If you're not pushing to the limits, it's not going to be fast enough around here. But that one going wrong early for Lucas Blakely.
Well, you mentioned the track limits, and we saw it in the first example, and I think we will see a few more of these as we head into the final couple of attempts here in Q3. Otis Lawrence, the only driver to really look like he could put in a very strong 1 minute 19 as we're riding on board with him now. No such problems with track limits in those first couple of corners. Otis, if you're just tuning in, a 10-place grid penalty over his head after the last time. There's track limits for him as well.
They're getting too
Tick
greedy.
Another one off, Alex.
Too greedy in 4 and 5. By the time that you're rotating the car into the full lock corner, which is the hairpin effectively that sends them back at 6. I mean, it's so difficult to measure it, but that's 2 of our 10 unable to find a legal way around the circuit.
Barry's all good at the moment as he heads towards the middle sector split. And let's see if Barry can keep it within the white lines. It may well be just a clean, nice banker lap is the way to go here. Get a confidence builder for then just one where you send it. You go for the banger lap, as they've been calling it. And Barry has navigated his Ferrari through this track pretty nicely indeed. Let's see what he puts on the board.
Can anyone put a time on the board, given what we've seen so far? Barry Burriman has found a way round between the white lines. And at the moment, Pookie, who's made it through, Nicholas Longuet is into second position. And then it's Barry Burriman, then it's Freddie Rasmussen, Nicholas Longuet, it's Van Pookie, then Thomas Gao. 2 invalidations for Lucas Blakely. And Jarno Opmeer goes to a really strong second place. If you consider that he's not had a pole all year long, a front row start is absolutely what he needs at the moment.
Whoever said Opmeer couldn't qualify? This is a new man we're seeing in Event 3, right at the front, and that is such a brilliant lap to put down on the board with the pressure on his shoulders of another championship.
Okay, Thomas Ronhart trying to take back-to-back pole positions, and he's done all the hard work. He comes over the line, he goes fastest. He goes fastest of anyone so far. It's a great lap when it counts. He is ahead by 0.05 of a second. The driver who was really confident he could do that as well. Going into this session, ahead of our winner around this circuit from last year, who is ahead of our championship leader, who is ahead of our reigning champion. And that's where the sort of momentum of the line runs. Nicolas Longuet on the podium last time. Then we ran a race around here. Then it's Pookie Fashi, who is in 7th, Gao, and the 2 invalidated drivers, Otis Lawrence and Lucas Blakely, who both saw those times fall away inside the first 5 turns of the racetrack.
Ron Hart's obviously going to be really happy with the fact that he's on provisional pole, but then he's going to be thinking, guys, can some others please just get in between me and the Red Bulls? 3rd and 4th, Freddie Rasmussen delivering as well in this first part of Q3. He needs a Fassi up there, not to take pole away from him, but Fassi to do the potential lap time that he's been suggesting to some of his drivers.
The one-lap form for Fassi just never returned after event 1. He was just imperious, but then the drivers, they discovered more about the game. There's all the laps that they had, found setup solutions. And whilst he has been excellent, and he has been a brilliant story in this championship, 7th is not the story. So he will hope that that lap has a moment of huge oversteer that gives him the confidence that there is an obvious find out there. There's no massive breaking point on this circuit where you can go seriously deep. You can't go wide without basically invalidating the lap, so it can only be corrections when applying the power where you can lose the time. Ron Hart, the driver to beat, and he will just be hoping that Barry Burman stays in 2nd place. A really key lap coming up for Jarno Opmeer, who again has his teammate in close proximity. Can Longuet improve? And can anyone else? So you'd expect Otis Lawrence to get in the mix, but he's going to get that 10th place grid penalty, and Lucas Blakely has run inside the top 5 earlier in this session. Can he find a similar sort of lap time, albeit with the jeopardy of not having a time on the board?
Not a lot of time left in this Q3 session, and Barry Burman looks to be the first to be peeling out of the pits ahead of Tamas Gal. The fun session is reaching the end of its life, but this is the best part. 2 minutes to go. The track at its absolute finest. I feel a little bit sorry for Ron Hart, Alex, because he's always on his own. He always does not have that rear gunner, and of course Brendan Lee moving away from the team after this season. Into next season, I'd be saying as Ron Hart, get me a competent driver that's really going to get into Q3 and help me in this championship fight, or I'll go find somewhere else. Because he can't win a championship if he's constantly against 2 Ferraris, 2 Red Bulls that are currently 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th in this quali session. It's so difficult to manage your strategy when you've got a team that can play 2 completely different strategies against you.
Yeah, completely. And work together as they did so devastatingly against his title ambitions in Brazil. And they executed the race to the point that Jarno's standing on the desk with us afterwards saying it was a fairly relaxed race for him because he knows the quality of his teammate alongside. Freddie Rasmussen has made it his business to turn out team championships again and again and again. And this looks to be a year where he's going to do the same thing. And the prize pool with the most money going Red Bull's way. A really fun conclusion to qualifying now, though. We're going to see who can take the time forward. Otis Lawrence has that 10th-place grid penalty. And we're going to see what he's able to do, looking to keep it within the white lines. If he can keep it within the white lines, we expect him to be troubling the top 5. He's had great pace all year long, a great rookie campaign with some ups and some downs, but crucially with wins and pole positions. Can he keep it within those lines? Remember, the next couple of turns where it all fell apart last time. Trying to put all of the car over, just opening the steering a little bit compared to where it went wrong last time. Then we're into the lock. And then we continue the high wire act into the middle part of the circuit.
Yeah, that was really nice from Otis. The delta we're seeing, it's to a 1:20.116. So anything over a 10th, and he is going into the 1:19s, it is Otis. He'll need maybe 2/10 in order to topple Thomas Ron Hart at the top of the field, but it's getting close. He's gaining more. Every corner he turns. Otis Lawrence, of course, will have that 10th-place grid penalty, but he'll want to start 11th.
Oh, my word. That was tight. That's tight as well. The dreaded turn 12. Easy as you like. How greedy does he get through the final corner? It's just a great lap. That's a great lap that's going to send him to the front of the field. So Ronhar is going to need a response. Otis Lawrence has a 10-place penalty, but he has provisional pole as it stands. We'll call it across the line. Barry Burrament, great time. Thomas Gow to 6th position. Burrament with provisional pole. Who's next up? Lucas Blakely didn't find a legal lap last time. And he goes up to 4th position. Wanted more. Nicholas Longay takes 4th away. Jarno Opmeer leads the points, but he's only in 6th. Ismail Fassi puts him down to 7th. Freddie Rasmussen gets it to 4th. Istvan Pukki. Thomas Ronhar's gone over in 3rd. And it's Barry Burrament who takes pole position. It will be Ronhar on the front row after the penalties applied to Lawrence. Rasmussen is in 4th, and it's Longay, Blakely, Fassi, Opmeer, Pukki and Gow. And hold on a minute, this championship isn't done yet.
It certainly isn't, and that is exactly what the F1 Sim Racing World Championship is all about. Opmeer will start 7th, Ronhar will start 2nd. Of course, Opmeer's teammate, Rasmussen, doing a fantastic job to begin the race in 3rd later on. Ronhar needed that point, which he missed out by 0.02 of a second. Let's have a look at the gaps. Yeah, actually, it was a big gap between Ronhar and Rasmussen of 0.08, Alex. So pretty massive considering what we saw in Q2. But Barry Burrament.
What a great lap, Barry Burrament. Our winner here last year, but he really turned the wick up at the end.
He certainly did. That's the kind of performance he needs, but sadly, for the Drivers' Championship, a little bit too late for him. But he can certainly do something for Ferrari in their fight with Mercedes. Mercedes, of course, slightly on the back foot at the moment in terms of their pace. Pukki down in 9th. But yeah, if Barry Burrament can turn that into a victory, they could well challenge for P2 in the teams.
So Barry Burrament, Thomas Ronhar, Freddie Rasmussen and Nicholas Longay will be our top 4. Otis Lawrence missing out by 13 thousandths of a second. But that 10-place penalty from last lap, I think that's what'll frustrate him. Last lap move. And it wasn't for a win. It wasn't for a podium. It was just the frustration of having followed for so long. And in the end, it's scuppered his chances because he looked really, really good there. That was a great lap considering he didn't have a banker on the board. But 10 places down, and you'd rather have the pace and know that there are just a few things to finesse than not have the pace at all out there. Let's hear from our pole sitter. Barry Burrament is speaking to Claire Cotter.
A tricky circuit, of course, but you managed to master it better than the other drivers out there, and you've taken pole position. A perfect time as well to be taking pole position. The championship really is on a knife edge.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, super happy with the pole. But yeah, our championship journey is not really looking great after last race. I mean, in the quali, it was basically the easiest pole of my life. And it's like, you know, a footballer have a penalty and you fully fly it outside of the goal. But, you know, it's a pressure. It happens. It was really hard to, you know, get on with it, but nothing you can do. And then, but in Qatar, yeah, I felt quite confident in the practice and in general, and I'm super happy to get pole again, back to back. I guess it's just the Brazil that is just never working for me. You remember last year as well. It's just the Brazil. I will be super happy to remove that track from the calendar. But yeah, I mean, I'm super happy with pole. I don't know how the championship is. I don't really want to know. I just want to go race by race, session by session, and hopefully we can get the best result possible. Huge points for the team, and yeah, that's it.
Luckily, I can't do the maths that quickly, so I've got no idea about the championship points. You are always such a passionate driver. Let's hear, you can't hear it, but I can hear it, the reaction that you had when you crossed the line.
Happy four.
Vamos, come on, man.
Did I say vamos?
Someone said vamos to you.
I mean, learning from the Spanish friends from Williams.
It's so important, though, isn't it, to really... we talked about how hard it's been for Ferrari this entire season to at least finish on a high. Maybe the championship might be over, but at least for you guys, it shows the fight back that you can do for Ferrari.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, I mean, I personally go into the season genuinely quite underperformed of what I was looking to do. But you know, this is life, and it's like sports. You know, even the really better players, I would say, like some players like Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi going to the season, sometimes they just don't perform as much as they want, and it's just, I guess, happens. But yeah, I mean, after the season, whatever happens, I'm just gonna refocus on the next 2 races, and we're just gonna sit back with the team, check it out, analyze it, and see what I can improve, what went wrong. Because obviously I personally want to go to the season, and the only goal is to win it. But yeah, that's it.
That's the goal. Are you our Ronaldo then of sim racing?
I fucking hope so. Oh, sorry. that was...
We did so well. We did so well. I'm getting rid of him. Thank you, Barry.
Well, that's the best quote we've had all year. Apologies if you heard any language there that you weren't expecting. Go on, Bravo.
Thank you very much for that, Claire. Dressed on brand there in the red for that Ferrari pole. And as Alex said, apologies for the language there. But the passion is high, the energy is high, and we know what Barry's like. He is so passionate, and he always wears his emotions on his sleeve.
You could tell he'd taken his brain out of gear in the interview, and he just decided... Oh, great.
But we said that Ferrari would be the ones to watch, didn't we, around this track? And we were right.
Yes, exactly. If you showed that brilliant graphic from earlier on, which showed he won last time, and that's the only race that we've had around here, not a shock. But a great lap at the end there, because to be honest, I'm not sure I would have had my money on Barry Burmond. He's been great across this year. It's only 2nd pole position. Very, very impressive performance, and he will now believe that he can go back-to-back with Qatar wins.
He will indeed. That's what he's going to be hoping for. Matt, what did you make of that qualifying session? I feel like that was one of the calmer of the 3 that we've had of Event 3 so far. It didn't feel quite so chaotic. There wasn't as much drama. As you guys said, our championship contenders really staying until Q3, so it wasn't so dramatic.
Yeah, we didn't see massive scalps going out, especially in Q1, but I think it sets up the race beautifully in the fact that Ron Ha has a good advantage over Otmir. I think it's 2nd versus 7th in that battle. If Ron Ha can take the victory, Otmir struggles, we've got an amazing title decider on our hands. So, yes, from an entertainment perspective, it's going to right itself, fingers crossed.
It is indeed. It set us up very nicely for that race. And we are now going to move over there to Marcel, who is going to take it away with a look at that pole lap. Over to you.
Thank you, guys. So, as Ariana already mentioned, we are having a look at a pole lap, the fastest lap time around the Qatar circuit from Barry Burmond, who actually told me this was his PB. So he didn't go any faster in practice, hooking it up nicely in 5th gear over turn 1. Then from the right to the left, attacking the curbs as much as possible, kind of doing what a train would do, using the curbs to get hooked up into the circuit. Now heading over to the left, maximum track usage, cut as much as you can on the right. Then also on this right, nearly getting off the track, end of sector 1. A lot of steering locking, 3rd gear, also using the inside curb there to get a bit more rotation. Then he also does a little bit of relocking, I think, here, but not too much. He's always saving the tires there a little bit more than others, from what I could tell from the onboards. Also a lot of cutting on that right. On the left here also, again, the wheel locking. You can see the suspension working. He's actually getting pushed off a bit further to the right. Now a ridiculous split of a 56.069, 1/10 up on his previous lap, which is also over half a 10 faster than Ronna. Then flat out through the left, so much downforce working on these cars. One more braking zone and wheel locking, getting the inside curb. Perfect exit, and this is how you do it, Ferrari style, around the circuit in Qatar. Thank you, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much. That was lovely. I just love this just pointing. He's there, ready to go. It's fantastic. It's
comforting
fantastic.
knowing he's in the room with us.
Yeah, and that we are in the VIP room that Tom Deacon was excluded from last time out.
We love that.
Oh,
and crucially, no one swore in the last 3 minutes, so we are flying right now.
We're going from strength to strength here, really. Let's look ahead to the race, shall we? As you've already mentioned, Matt, this sets us up for a really nice, exciting race in terms of how this championship is going to play out. Alex, how are you feeling for when we get into the race, and how do you think the drivers are feeling?
Well, for Ronha, it's can you wrestle the lead away early on and control things? Crucially, for Red Bull, it's when can you reunite your driver pairing? Because when you've put those two line astern, they've just been magnificent. In Mexico City, they worked so well together. Freddie Rasmussen got out of the way. Jarno Opmeer knows that he got out of the rig. I was watching his expression. He's just shaking his head. He's not shaking his head at the prospects for the rest of the race. He's just like, okay, that qualifying has not gone to plan. He will still expect to minimize the damage. I think Ronha's going to finish ahead, though, in all honesty. Just how many points?
Oh, well, it won't be long until we find out, but let's pause for a second there and head over to Claire, who is with Thomas Ronha herself.
Definitely still, obviously, in the hunt for a championship, aren't you, Thomas? It's fair to say it's been a bit of an up and down couple of days for you. How are we feeling? Just 20-odd points between you and the top driver. Where are we feeling? What's the headspace like?
Not too sure what to think at the moment. Obviously, starting way ahead of Jarno in such a hard track to overtake is obviously nice. Anything can happen in these races, even in tracks where you can't overtake. There might be some team play like in Mexico, for example, with the V-Cup drivers. But yeah, it's gonna try my best. Realized 2 minutes after I was actually second because of Otis's. I find it unfair pen, but yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, I think we're on board with the lap at the moment. The first set you can see right there, the cut was absolutely amazing. Gained 600s. This sounds like an excuse, I'm gonna say. I saw, I don't know what it was, but there was something flashing beyond my screen. I don't know if it was a cameraman or something else, but yeah, it was not nice, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah, the lap itself was still very solid. Definitely Paul was on. You probably can't see the mistake, but in general the focus I think wasn't on point. In the last lap I was up on Barry split. But then, yeah, to start losing a few thousand here and there. You can see here just little mistake here and there, missing the apex there as well. But yeah, still second on the grid with such a hard track, I think is a very positive thing to have. And yeah, looking forward.
What is it about this track that is so tricky?
I think generally just nailing the track limits around there, because we have to stay on the left on the straight to avoid the bumps in the middle of the straight. So it is really hard to, let's say, stay within the track limits. You can invalidate pretty much everywhere. So yeah, being on the limit can give you, let's say, P1 or 2, but it can also be last. So it's hard to nail the lap around there, and that's why qualifying is so important.
Let's talk about your headspace a little bit, just in general this season. I feel like you're a lot more relaxed, Thomas Ronha, from what we saw last year. I feel that there has been a change in you, a bit of a shift. Do you feel that's the same?
Compared to last year, definitely. Of course, you know, experience, you grow as a human and obviously as a driver as well. Yeah, just generally trying to do the best I can in every single race. Of course, I've been a bit unfortunate in the first two races, but maybe my luck can turn around in the coming races, and then, yeah, I'm sure we can still fight for the championship.
You're losing a very big character alongside you to the left of you. Brendan Lee is leaving us. He is retiring from F1 sim racing. Yeah. How big of that is a loss for you? Does it feel like it's going to be a big, you know, hole in the team? We don't want to give him too much credit.
No, I'll give him a lot of credit. He's obviously, first of all, two-time champ. Yeah, one of the greats that will be forever in F1 Esports. Yeah, especially as a human, especially mentally, he really helped me, supported me in the hard times. I think it's already 2 years ago with, obviously, I'm not even going to mention what was happening.
Yeah, we all know.
We all know. Yeah, I think as a human, he was really an amazing guy. I think probably the best guy I could have had on the grid in terms of that. So yeah, he's going to be definitely one to miss, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm sure he'll be supporting and watching and maybe be involved in some sort of way for esports, who knows. Yeah, we're going to miss him, and yeah, he's going to have one last dance in Abu Dhabi.
One last dance indeed for tomorrow. But today we've got to think about the race ahead. So good luck for it.
Thank you.
And I hope you go well. Let's head back to you guys on the desk.
Thank you very much, Claire and Thomas. Right, it is time for one of my new favourite parts of the show. You know what it is. It's the starting grid. Take us through it.
All right, I don't know why you like this section.
A lot of height. lot of height.
We
Go on,
just
who's 20th?
mumble our way through. It's Duncan Hoffland.
Yeah.
He's in 20th. He's next to
Declan Barrett.
Declan
Yeah,
Barrett.
that's what I was going to say as well.
He's next up. And it's Tycho Hardy. He's next to Ruben Pedrono in 17th position.
Not very exciting, is it? I don't know why Aaron is so excited.
Alfie Bunches in 16th, followed by Yoni Tormala. Hey, it's like Bravo's back at the O2.
Down the inside goes Tom Manley in 14th alongside Jake Benham in P13, unlucky for some.
Otis Lawrence's 10-place grid penalty sends him into P12. He's alongside Josh Edu.
Who's that round the outside? It's Shanaka Clay in P10 alongside Tamas Gal, another Q3 in the locker.
We journey to Istvan Pukki. He's alongside Jarno Otmir, our championship leader.
P6, Ishmael.
Fassi.
P5, Lucas.
Blakely.
Unbelievable.
We're never going to be allowed to do this again. Nicholas.
Longay.
Frederick.
Rasmussen.
We're going to resign after this. I apologise.
For sure.
Thomas.
Ronhard.
Barry.
Burman.
He's our pole sitter for the penultimate race of the year.
Sorry, that is never happening ever again.
I'm sorry. We can only apologise.
My goodness,
We've run out of ideas
and brain cells
and potentially contracts. So
That was beautiful. That was my favourite yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was anyone else.
you.
But
That was a roller coaster. You really reeled us in there.
Yeah, add mine
Reeled
in as
us
well.
in, and then wow.
Yeah.
So that was your starting grid for our race.
Yeah,
at
well
the-
done, Barry. Sorry for
It was great.
sorry for discrediting your amazing effort in qualifying with that nonsense.
Barry Burman will start on pole position for our race later today. But that is all for now from the qualifying show. We'll be back to take you through the race very shortly at the Lusail International Circuit. But have a little breather and do join us again, and we'll go racing. Thank you so much.